Shop at Sears in the Washington Square Mall.
Welcome back to AM Northwest. All right, getting your kids to talk can be tough, can be very tough. But you can set yourself up for a greater success by knowing what to say and what not to do. And here to help us understand that, we welcome back psychologist Dr. Michael Friedrichs. Nice to have you here.
Thank you. I wanted to tell you that I'm a Skype image.
You are a Skype image, that's good, because you're moving in real time. Very much better setup. All right, anybody with kids, no matter what age, it's difficult to talk to them, whether they're little or especially, I think, teenagers.
Yeah.
And one of the things you mentioned is that with teens, and that's what we'll focus on, power is important. There's a bit of a power struggle.
Yeah. Well, every teenager, especially every 16-year-old, what you got to realize is they're planning a prison break.
Right.
That's really what they're doing.
Yes.
So parents are like, you don't want to be my friend anymore. Well, no, you're the warden. I mean, there's going to be secrets and things that they're holding from you, but their job is to get out of there. That's all they're thinking about. That's all they're telling their friends.
And I've had conversations with friends about that kids who, when they reach 18, are eager to get out of the house, usually is a sign that the parents have done a pretty good job.
Absolutely, yeah. My 3-year-old now, he walks 1,000 feet ahead of me at the mall. I'm hoping by the time he's 18, it's 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
But whether that happens successfully or not has to do with how I deal with his dreams and not, give him power gradually.
So parents have to understand that with their teens, there's a power balance, and you don't want to you cannot always assert your power over them. You've got to respect theirs too. Is that what you're saying?
Well, in psychology, the term we use is transactional analysis. You might imagine a teeter-totter, and the parents on the tie end of the teeter-totter for the duration of that child's life. All communication is downhill. Well, as with all budding democracies, it is up to those in power to give up their power. It's a charity thing. You have to give it to level that playing field so that when they're 18, they feel comfortable walking out the door. But a lot of parents think they're still raising their kids all the way up to 18, and that's actually a mistake. Let me ask you a question. How much variance in a child's behavior do you think is due to parenting after the age of 12?
I would think parents have a lot of influence after age of 12, but I wouldn't think they have much after 18.
In terms of shaping personality, definitely not. It's about 6%.
After age of 12?
The rest of the things influencing that child, after age 6, you're already done raising that person. In a sense, you've created that personality. You've helped them be the most that they are. After 12, you're just setting limits. That's all you're doing. So when parents get really involved in their kids' lives and they're like, oh, I don't think you should make that choice. I think you should date Jacob instead of Edward. You're going to get a lot of feedback from your teens. They don't want to have that kind of feedback.
They don't want that. All right, so let's talk about then how you approach your teens with conversation. Because again, respecting them then as individuals with power, how should you approach the conversation?
Well, I recommend the old cub reporter method, who, what, when, where, how. Say, for example, your teenager goes to a concert and they leave early, say, for example. Well, you might say, who was at the concert? What didn't you like about the concert?
Rather than just, hey, what happened? How was the concert?
Well, the most important question is you get to the end and you say, how? How did you make that decision to leave? You see, that's a much more open question. Notice we don't ask why questions. Why questions shut down the conversation. Why questions should be abolished.
Why so?
Well, because you put people in a defensive mode. If you ask a why question, you're going to start getting excuses. But there's something else very important I want to say about the how question as you get through the list. You have to actually care about the answer. What a lot of kids tell me is that their parents say, how was your day? And what is the answer you're going to get? Fine. You're not going to get the true answer. But imagine asking the question, how did you feel after you were finally finished with that exam that you studied for? That's a whole different kind of question, and you're going to get a whole different kind of response, because that's how teens talk to each other.
Yeah, good. And you tapped into something specific for them rather than being general.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how. What, when, where? You're asking those questions too?
Yeah, well, people need a model. They don't even know how to approach their teen anymore because they're frightened now of this person.
Oh, yeah.
So that model can be very helpful in helping people move through it. I mean, there's really three things that we have to remember. First of all is that research shows us that nobody likes criticism.
Right.
Nobody. Even in industrial psych. There's no way to give someone a negative feedback. It's impossible. So just be brief, be constructive. The other thing is that we want to do the power, level of playing field again, like I said. But we have to keep it real with teens. That ends up being really, really key because they can smell deceit, and hypocrisy makes teenagers want to vomit. I mean, they want nothing to do with it, and so many parents are rife with hypocrisy.
Because they've got so much of it in their life with friends as they learn to mature and become real people. They see it a lot. So
I see a lot of parents who smoke who tell their kids don't smoke. Look,
Right.
your kid's going to be a smoker. And even worse, smoking weed. A lot of parents in this town smoke weed. Their kids pretty much all universally will smoke weed.
Okay, so you've got to be real with your kids.
Yeah.
You also mentioned too that the teen years are filled with anxiety. It's easy for us to forget that as we float into adulthood, how difficult that was. So as you talk to your children, your teenagers, what do you have to think about when you think of anxiety?
Well, first of all, being a teenager is synonymous with being anxious. So in addition to all the rules and stuff that you put on a kid, you want to maybe offer them some relief. You know, hey, when's the last time we went for ice cream? You know, hey, would you like to go to the mall with me right now? Can I help you with your homework or whatever? Just offer to relieve some of that anxiety. One of the easiest things we can do to relieve anxiety, I think, is to help them rehearse things. Because a lot of what they're trying to do is try out being an adult. So you might say, would you like to practice talking to a girl on your first date? Would you like to try that? You know, I'll put on a wig, you know.
Yeah.
Or would you like to practice telling your friends no, like at the concert? So rather than getting them in trouble, what you really want to do is shape them to be an adult so you can get them out the door, ideally, at 18.
Some skills for doing it. It's difficult, but when you have that kind of relationship with your teenager, it can be hugely rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, all right, very good. We want folks to know we got more information too on our website at KATU.com. So good to have you in. Good to see you again. All right, up next on AM Northwest, we will show you how to put a simple twist on a classic French dessert. Stay with us.